National Cohesion and Integration Commission warns politicians against hate speech as the country heads towards the 2027 general poll.
And in the courts, we have the latest from that end, but first, the highlights.
That's right.
Proceed to do a letter and have it given directly to the Inspector General for the incident to be investigated, and also expecting that there should be swift, immediate action.
My life is in danger.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi shocking claim as he calls on the Inspector General of Police to intervene. Outrage, chaos.
2 people feared dead during a confrontation between armed forest officers and Shinyalu residents. Go thee out there and spread the word.
President Ruto directs newly appointed Kenyan envoys to market the country's economic agenda abroad. Plus,
residents of Nairobi's Mukuru Kwanjenga clash with police deployed to evict them and demolish their houses.
Well, that executive summary of our bulletin comes up a little later on. Thank you for joining us. I am Tom Boyer.
I am Nchumo Dim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura.
Straight to our top story now. President William Ruto is tonight urging the newly appointed ambassadors and the high commissioners to leverage on Kenya Kwanza's roadmap, seeking to transform Kenya into a first world country to market the country to their diplomatic stations. In a dispatch charge to the envoys, Ruto implored them to carry the hopes, values and aspirations of the country. JJ Curia opens our coverage with that report tonight.
Having successfully been vetted by the National Assembly's Defence and Foreign Relations Committee in September, and subsequent approvals, President Ruto met with a new team of envoys before reporting to their duty stations. And with the Cabinet recently having approved the setting up of the Infrastructure Fund and the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the President called on the ambassadors and high commissioners to use the two as reference points in their diplomatic engagements in host countries.
I am very convinced that we have the requisite resources with the correct, innovative application of those resources. We can leverage what we have today in terms of the taxes we collect, the assets that we have, the natural resources that are available within the borders of our country, to raise the requisite resources for us to drive our development in a very consequential manner.
The head of state mandated the team to foster mutually beneficial relations and safeguard Kenya's national interest.
The year 2026 is going to be a very consequential year in the history of Kenya as we seek to roll out some of the most consequential programs that will define our nation going into the future. You are aware there is already a national discourse on where we want Kenya to be, because we believe there is greater potential for our country in many respects.
Ruto underscored the importance of Kenya's diplomatic engagements as a key cog of public service.
As you all know, there is no greater honor in public life than the privilege to represent one's country and people in an international stage. It is a solemn calling that demands discipline, judgment, and fidelity, especially to the national interest of Kenya.
Among those reporting to new diplomatic postings are immediate former chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Ambassador Anthony Mushiri, who heads to Ankara, Turkey, Lucy Kirudhu, who heads to Thailand, Joseph Musyoka Masila heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, immediate former Labour CS Florence Bore, who heads to Namibia, Edwin Ofande, who will represent Kenya in Vienna, Austria. Others are Abdirashid Salat, who will represent Kenya in Indonesia, Henry Wambuma, who heads to Burundi, Jane Toritich, who will be Kenya's Consul General in Dubai, Judin Kumeri, who will be seeking to restore Kenya's relations with the DRC, and David Mwangi, who heads to Seoul, South Korea. Curia, Prime Edition.
Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua now says tedious paperwork and judicial processes involved in building a case against fraudsters who have conned Kenyans for job placements abroad are slowing down prosecutions.
Speaking in Nairobi Tuesday, Dr. Mutua pointed out that out of the 390 cases lodged in the last 6 months, only 15 have been concluded.
Here is that report.
By Nancy Okware.
Hello and good afternoon.
The Task Force on Travel Agencies and Labour Fraud was formed on the 15th of July 2025, comprising the Ministry of Labour, Office of the Attorney General and the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. However, 6 months later, only 15 cases have been completed despite receiving 390 complaints.
Why out of 390, only 15? It is because investigation of fraud needs a follow-up of paperwork. The DCI has to go to court, apply for special permission to get bank statements, to get Safaricom M-Pesa statements. So there's a process that is undertaken. They have to do verification of documents. So it takes time.
According to Mutua, 106 of the cases under investigation involve travel agents. He said that those defrauding Kenyans are not registered with the National Employment Agency and the Bureau of Business Registration.
The company is not registered anywhere in the country of Kenya, does not even have a bank account, has nothing, and they put fake posters and people give them money.
According to the CS, 2 people have filed cases in the small claims court and have been compensated. 4 cases are, however, pending in court, with other companies obtaining conservatory orders.
We don't understand why you run to court. What do you have to hide? You don't want us to investigate you.
The CS added that 2 individuals are being sought by DCI for disappearing with government money meant to facilitate youth to travel abroad.
Mr. Vincent Omondi Oyugi and his wife Rachel Njoki Karaoke, who between them are holding 18 million shillings belonging to the government of Kenya through the youth fund, which they have vanished with, and which young people are waiting to be taken overseas.
Kenyans seeking to work abroad have been urged to conduct due diligence to avoid falling prey to unscrupulous people.
Please do investigation. If that person is not listed, if the job is not listed in the website of the National Employment Agency, which is accessible 24 hours, then avoid that person. Do not pay money to individuals. Deal with a company.
Ultimately, our objective is to ensure that young people access these jobs at no cost to them. The best that he should incur as a cost is possibly the passport that he will have to get, and probably pay for medical fees.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Internal Security National Administration Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo has called on coordinated regional responses and stronger interagency cooperation as one of the major contributors towards strengthening border security and also countering transnational threats.
Dr. Omolo, who was speaking at the opening of a 3-day workshop on border security in Nairobi, said modern border threats are becoming increasingly complex and requiring cooperation in response.
Here's that report.
The 3-day regional workshop seeking to develop a compendium of best practices on strengthening border security for countering transnational threats, including the movement of illicit goods and violent extremism, brought together government officials and technical experts from Kenya, Somalia, Namibia, Madagascar and the Central African Republic at the Kenya School of Government. In his opening remarks, Internal Security and National Administration Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo said modern border threats aided by technology are now becoming complex and require strong interagency cooperation.
These networks exploit the weaknesses in border management, the indigenous porous or the porous border crossing points, gaps that exist in our capacity to be able to detect, limited interoperability, weak interagency coordination, as well as loopholes that are legislative in nature.
Omolo acknowledging partnership that has supported practical interventions across participating countries, including strengthened training and operational capacities, and emphasized the importance of consolidating lessons learned into a shared regional reference to improve interoperability and effectiveness.
In Kenya, there's specialized training programs that have strengthened the capacity of frontline officers to be able to detect illicit goods and human trafficking. These are not merely technical achievements, as each intervention contributes to safer borders, disrupted criminal networks, and protected communities. They demonstrate what is possible when we pool knowledge, resources, and political commitment.
The border security program that has contributed to Kenya's efforts towards strengthened strategic trade controls, including technical support towards the Strategic Goods Control Bill 2025, which has been approved by Cabinet and will soon be submitted to Parliament for consideration.
One of our most sacred duties as governments is to work together every day to deny, disrupt, and dismantle criminal and terrorist networks that threaten the peace and security and prosperity that we're trying to achieve. And we want to do that by strengthening institutions and supporting African-led responses to the insecurity that continues to disrupt trade routes and investment flows.
For us at the Kenya School of Government, through our Security Management Institute, we will continue to endeavor our collaboration to fight against all this, the aspect of violent extremism and other dangers out there, including some of these emerging technologies. Cybersecurity.
As we undertake this work, we must ensure that our regional practices align with evolving global standards and frameworks.
The workshop is expected to produce a guiding policy for training and operations for border agencies and stakeholders, strengthening collective capacity to prevent and disrupt illicit flows, transnational organized crimes and violent extremism across the region. Isofar reporting for Prime Edition.
11 minutes past the top of the hour. You are watching Prime Edition. And coming up,
violent confrontations in Kakamega.
Mukuru village, that's in Shinyalu constituency. Plus the Wamatangi presser. Just what is going on? All that coming up after the short break.
Guess how long line zetu za stima ziko? 320,000 kilometers. Hiyo ni kama go around the earth 8 times. Wacha nikuelezee how far we go to bring you electricity.
Hapa ni substation. Substation, hata engineers wakikuja, they don't just walk in. They have to be in touch with the controllers. They ask them to give them permits to wafanye kazi kwa any place.
Boss, hii sasa ndio final. Inaitwa transmission line. These lines transmit power from big stations like Olkaria at 200 up to 500,000 volts. Kazi yangu is to let 500,000 volts of electricity flow around me while I work so that Kenyans can get power. Hii kazi inahitaji bravery, strength, confidence, courage, hizo vitu zote. Kila saa nikiambia watu kazi mimi nafanya, wananiuliza why, na mimi nawauliza why no. Somebody has to do it. For them, for you. Shine on Kenya, pamoja tu.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. You're watching
KBC Channel 1 Prime Edition.
Our socials.
At KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. Lazarus watching KBC Channel 1 from Makadara area in the capital. Enos Omondi, you're watching KBC Channel 1 from the CBD. Keep on talking to us on our social media platforms.
That's right. Let's now swing to the second part of this broadcast, where 2 people are feared dead and several others injured at Mukuru village, that's in Shinyalu constituency in Kakamega County, following a violent confrontation in the early hours of Tuesday.
The incident allegedly involved 3 forest officers who reportedly opened fire during a confrontation with locals, sparking outrage and chaos in the village.
Now, in the ensuing melee, residents torched a motorcycle believed to belong to the officers.
Shock as residents of Mukuru village coming to terms with what transpired on Tuesday morning, leaving 2 dead and a trail of destruction. According to locals, the confrontation began when forest officers attempted to stop a tractor ferrying sand from River Isiuku through Kakamega Forest, a move that reportedly angered residents, triggering a heated confrontation that quickly escalated into violence. Residents alleged that the officers opened fire during the scuffle, leading to the fatal shootings.
Ilikuwa jioni kitu saa moja, wakavumaniwa tu na maaskari wa KFS kutoka sehemu za Lurambi police station. Walikuwa maaskari watatu na pikipiki. Ikaanza kizaazaa, maana watu wa risafu ama raia waliuliza, mbona mjanga iko kwa risafu na trakta iko kwa risafu? Lakini sasa maaskari wa KFS wakaijaka hiyo trakta.
Kuna kijana mmoja alipotoka huko nikimuuliza shida ni nini, akaniambia hii trakta imeshikwa na mchanga. Na ndio raia inaulizana na maaskari kama watu wametoka forest wako kwa nini, kwa community, kwa nini mnawashambulia? Katika hiyo hali ilibidi mimi nisonge nyuma nirudi kwa boma, cause marisasi ilikuwa imezidi.
In retaliation, enraged locals allegedly set ablaze a motorcycle said to belong to the officers. Area leaders led by Shinyalu Member of Parliament Freddy Kana have strongly condemned the conduct of the forest officers, saying this was not the first time incident of confrontation in the area.
Hili ni tendo ambalo tungependa kulikashifu kabisa, kwa sababu si mara ya kwanza ambayo tunapata mambo kama haya yakitendeka katika mtaa huu wa Mukuru pamoja na mtaa wa Shamiloli na mtaa wa Iloro na mtaa wa Isecheno. Tungependa kuwaomba walinda usalama wa vitengo mbalimbali kuhakikisha wanafanya kazi yao ipasavyo.
However, Shinyalu OCPD Daniel Mukumbu has offered a different account, saying the officers were attacked by residents armed with machetes. He says one firearm was damaged during the attack, their motorcycle was towed, and the officers sustained serious injuries.
Wakati walikuwa wanaendelea kufurugana, wananchi waliweza kulemea maofisa wa Kenya Forest, na ndio wakaanza kufyatua risasi ili kujiokoa wao wenyewe. Wakati hiyo watu wawili waliweza kupigwa risasi, wakafa hapo na mmoja akapigwa upande wa mguu akaumia. Ukiangalia hapo nyuma kama mwaka wa 21 kisanga kama hiyo pia ilitokea.
Police have since launched investigations into the incident.
To other developments, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission have warned politicians against inciting Kenyans to violence.
Speaking in Nairobi, Kenya, during the launch of the two key documents aimed at taming hate speech, NCIC Director in charge of investigations and compliance, Professor James Wanyande, said it will not be business as usual, as they will ensure the hate mongers face the full force of the law.
Wanyande said the two documents will help promote peace, unity and tranquility among its Kenyans, especially as the country enters the electioneering phase.
Timothy Kipnusu on that peaceful beat.
On Tuesday, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, rolled out two key documents aimed at taming hate speech ahead of the 2027 general election.
Some of the challenges that we know that we may encounter, one is uncoordinated efforts.
The Kenya National Action Plan on Hate Speech, as well as the Gender Analysis Report and Radical Ideologies reports, aimed at rallying Kenyans towards national cohesion and integration.
So the purpose of these two documents is to enable different stakeholders play their role in ensuring that we monitor social media, we ensure that there's no spread of hate speech as we approach the elections in 2027.
Katiba yetu imesema ya kwamba Article 38, political rights. Kenyans have the right to form a political party, join a political party, even giving themselves for elective positions and be elected to the office. But we need peace for everyone to vie, for everyone to join a political party, for everyone to campaign for a political party or an ideology that speaks to their democratic aspirations.
Speakers at the forum said hate speech has emerged as a major threat in the development and growth of the country, with the stakeholders calling for immediate action against the culprits.
Somebody saying the Muslims are being favored in this government. Such things which lack basis, such biasness, It is these guidelines that will ensure that we tame misinformation, okay, and such biasness that might bring division in our society.
The players using the forum to warn a section of politicians who they said are perpetrators of violence.
The weak legal framework, as I said, like one of them being our act. We have political interference, because most of the perpetrators of hate speech are wanasiasa.
One of the other things that we've proposed is to give NCIC the power to vet politicians or anybody who is seeking either elective or appointive positions. If NCIC is given that power to be able to vet these people seeking either elective or appointive posts, then we'll be able to tame a lot of this rhetoric, negative rhetoric.
In the meantime, NCIC has been challenged to rise above board and ensure hate mongers do not walk scot-free.
You can be popular, but you're inciting people. Those people should be barred from contesting. However much you're popular, you should be barred, because you cannot incite this tribe against this tribe. Then people allow you to contest. They backstop with the IBC.
But the relevant bodies have also been urged not to interfere with the freedom of speech in their quest of promoting a cohesive nation.
As much as we are calling for content moderation, as much as we are calling for regulations, we should also ensure that our people enjoy the freedom of speech as enshrined in our constitution.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi claims tonight that his life is in danger.
Speaking in Kiambu County, Wamatangi claims there was a vehicle on Tuesday trailing his movements within Nairobi, where he was on official duty.
Now, the governor is now pleading with the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to intervene, alleging that the occupants of that vehicle might be out to inflict harm on him.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi is crying for his life.
I do not sit on what I believe is a potential threat. To my well-being and to my life.
Addressing a press conference in Kiambu County, the governor claims some unknown people are out to harm him.
The whole saga tells me that there was sinister motive.
The county boss now claims that a vehicle was trailing his movements while on official business in Nairobi.
Halfway through my journey in Nairobi, I was being trailed by a white vehicle that had 3 occupants. And the vehicle trailed me throughout to most of the places that I went, and indeed to an office where I went to a government office and waited almost for a whole hour before the purposes for which I had gone were finalized. Upon coming out, the same vehicle was still hovering around my other vehicles.
Tumempatia masaa 12 awe ametupatia ripoti, na ni ripoti ambayo inaweza kutuonyesha hilo gari, maana magari zote katika nchi hii ya Kenya iko na number plates ambao inaweza kusema hilo gari ni ya nani.
The governor, who plans to write a letter to the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to enhance his security, says he is not taking any chances.
I cannot, and I do not want to be a rumor monger, but such people may not have good intentions. And when that is known, I will proceed to do a letter and have it given directly to the Inspector General for the incident to be investigated, and also expecting that there should be swift, immediate action to ensure that as I move around, that my security will be taken care of, it will be enhanced, and that my life should be watched over and guarded just like every other Kenyan.
Gavana wetu, ulinzi ambao unastahili. Not as Kimani Wamatangi, but as a holder of an office that deserves that security. Kwa sababu wale viongozi wengine wote hata wabunge wanapewa security yao.
Kwa sababu gavana tumemchagua Kiambu atufanyie kazi. Na tutakubali gavana wetu anafanya kazi Kiambu na uoga. Na sisi watu wa Kiambu tuko tayari kumtetea ije na ndani. Hata ingawa ni kuandamana, tutaandamana mpaka gavana wetu apewe ulinzi.
This comes as irate residents of Limuru sub-county took to the streets, defending him against what they termed as harassment following the demolition of his business premises at Nyayo Stadium.
Vile gavana wetu ambao tulimchagua kama wapiga kura ambao hapa Kiambu hapa Limuru hatujafurahia kwa sababu tumeona ni mambo ya siasa inafanya kazi, sio ukweli. Vile wanamsingizia na mambo ya ufisadi, wakitaka toka mamlakani ili wachukue mamlaka.
Hatujafurahia vile tunaona gavana wetu anasuburiwa, amemsubua sana na sisi ndio tulimchagua kwa kumpenda.
The High Court has already issued orders to freeze 5 bank accounts belonging to Wamatangi over an 813 million shilling corruption case. The move followed a successful petition by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC), which argued that monies obtained by 5 companies belonging to Wamatangi are proceeds of crime. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Tunatambulika kwa mandhari yetu ya kuvutia,
tamaduni zetu, ukarimu wetu, vyakula vyetu, uchapakazi,
na pia kwa sauti tofauti za watangazaji wetu waliobobea.
Libengo liko hapa aka upcoming sponsor, bila shaka hapa ni kama Pedeshe, ma Deep State, pia vile cartels.
Tunaenzi talanta za pwani, tunakuza talanta za hapa kwetu nyumbani.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tuko mjengoni kama kawa na wanangu wengine wawili.
Usikose kutegea 103.1 Pwani FM, stesheni ambayo itakupa fursa ya kupata uhondo kamili wa pwani na kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
Pwani FM, tafrija ya kipwani.
Uwepo wako uende nasi. Usiibe mtihani, utapatwa na mashaka. Hata ukiniangalia ni wewe ninaambia.
Kuwa asilimia kubwa ya vijana ulimwenguni hata nchini haina maadili.
Nani alaumiwe? Serikali, shule ama wazazi? Kwa maoni yangu naona wazazi ndio wanafaa walaumiwe.
Kwa maoni yangu hamna mtu yoyote ambaye anapaswa kulaumiwa.
Mtoto wa mjini hajui kulima.
Jitoto vya mjini vinajua kulima.
Kaunti nambari 10 inaitwaje?
Mukuru.
Maajabu na miujiza.
Welcome back. Now, residents of Mukuru, Kwanjenga informal settlement in Nairobi County Tuesday in the morning clashed with police officers who had been deployed to evict them and demolish their structures.
Allegedly to give room for the construction of a road, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja had to move to stop the demolitions, terming the action illegal and promised compensation for the affected families.
Human rights groups have also condemned the planned eviction, accusing the police of violating a court order that stopped any evictions.
Yale ambayo tumeona mahali hapa yametukera sana. Polisi wameletwa kulinda haki za binadamu, lakini hapa polisi wanakuja kuua watu. Tumekaa mahali hapa DCCI atokelezi kutuambia kwamba mahali hapa inabomolewa.
So tunasikitika sana vile wanatufanyia, kwa sababu shule ni hapa, makazi yetu ni hapa, tunaishi hapa, watoto wanasomea hapa, wakitubomolea wanataka aje? Lazima wanataka sasa hivi watoto wako manyumbani, kazi wametuharibia. Tunashindwa hata kulipa school fees.
The county government has not cleared any plan, and these people have been living in this distress for too many years. You know, and we keep saying our first-class country can't have a second-class citizen, and so we have made sure this stops completely, and that those affected are compensated. If there is need for any feeder roads, it must be signed off by the county government.
Despite a court order ambayo kila mtu akonayo na anaijua, polisi wanatumiwa, wanakuja in the dead of the night, saa 7 usiku, saa 8 usiku, wanakuja kusumbua watu, wanaanza kubomolea watu, and there is a court order. Even last month wamekuja hapa wamebomoa, there is a court order. In Watamu wanaendelea, there is a court order.
Let's now take you to the corridors of justice. The High Court has temporarily stopped the construction of the 11 billion shillings Riruta Lenana Ngong meter gauge railway commuter line.
Now, the court also stopped further use of the Railway Development Levy Fund for the project pending the hearing of a petition filed by Busia Senator Okia Omtata and others.
Letua Deborah compiled this report.
The High Court has issued interim orders suspending the construction of the Riruta Lenana Ngong merge gauge railway commuter line alongside any further disbursement of funds from the Railway Development Levy Fund. The orders follows a petition filed by the Busia Senator Okia Omtata and 2 others who argue that the funds were used without parliamentary approval in a violation of the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act. In his ruling, Justice Bahati Momoya said the court was satisfied that it was in the interest of justice to stop the project pending the determination of the case. The case will be mentioned on a later date for further directions. In a Nairobi court has acquitted activist Nuru Maloba Okanga of all 3 cybercrime and false publication charges after finding the prosecution failed to establish a case to answer. In a ruling delivered on Tuesday, Magistrate Rose Ndombi said the evidence did not prove that Okanga published the alleged video and that the content was fake, adding that the case was based on suspicion. The charges stemmed from allegations that Okanga shared a video on social media commenting on national leadership and governance, but the court held that the prosecution failed to credibly link him to the publication or the online platform cited.
Your Honor, as I pray that the order you had initially made be reaffirmed, that the money be deposited or be remitted back to the accused, I must equally join my colleagues in thanking you sincerely the Honorable Court, not only for the Solomonic decision that the court has made, but equally for the expediency through which this court has had to hear.
Litua Debra for Prime Edition.
A family from Mulundu village, that's in North Maragoli ward of Vihiga County, is living in fear and anxiety after their son was abducted by unknown persons on Saturday night of last week.
This and other stories making headlines in the counties.
The disappearance of a 29-year-old Jobson Athanda has sparked panic among the family and residents of the area, with questions remaining as to whether the young man is still alive or not.
Na kama wako na grudge na yeye watuambie tu tena walikuwa na grudge na yeye nini, hiyo ndio tunataka tujue mambo kweli wa mambo. Kuliko tuangaike na marafiki yao tukitafuta ndugu yetu kwa mtoni, tumezunguka huku, tumeenda wapi tunatafuta hatumuoni. Tumejaribu tuone. Hiyo tu ndio nalia tu, yani penya yako tu ambe wenye walifanya tu kitendo, watu waambie tu alifanya hivi ama watupatie tu tujue tu tuzike ndugu yetu tusahau.
Hata kama wameuawa, afadhali tupate mwili wake tuzike tusahau, kwa sababu hakuna haja tutafute, tumetafuta hatuoni.
And officials of the Kenya National Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers KUPPET in Homa Bay have raised worries over their safety, claiming they are being trailed by unidentified individuals following a botched union election earlier this month.
And we are asking the IG of police to act very fast and ensure that all of them are brought to book. We will not be cowed. On behalf of all the teachers who are members of Homa Bay KUPPET, we will not be intimidated. We will not allow ourselves to be cowed. We will continue serving all the teachers without fear, because in our team, we believe in sobriety. We believe in acting with wisdom and not with emotions.
And in Mathira, Nyeri County, the area member of parliament, Eric Wamumbi, has announced an ambitious education support program that will see all 65-day secondary school in his constituency learn for free starting this year.
Tumekaa chini na BOM wa shule, tukakaa chini na principals, ni tukafanya hesabu na ile pesa tumekubaliana. Iyo pesa niko nayo, tunalipa next week. Wazazi tuendelee, tusiendelee. Watoto wetu wasome. Watoto wasome. Na ninasema hii sio mambo ya siasa. Hii ni mambo ya watoto wetu wasome masomo ambayo ni bora, wasome bila kufukuzwa kuendea pesa ya school fees. Hapa hakuna mambo ya siasa.
Also in Kabete, Kiambu County, James Wanjoy, a philanthropist, is challenging those who are well endowed in society to help needy students pursue their education for a better country.
Kwa uwezo wa Mwenyezi Mungu watoto wanasoma hata kama ni kwa shida sana. Tumeona school capitation inasema ya kwamba about 400,000 students hawana cha kufanya ama the intake yao kuingia mashule haipatikani. So what I would like to say ni kwamba hawa wanafunzi wanafaa kusaidiwa.
Finally, in Meru County, many pupils and students have dropped out of school and are now assisting their parents to look for food following prolonged drought.
Hizo shule zimeathiriwa sana na kiangazi na kumekuwa na shida kubwa ya kuretain watoto mahali pale. Watoto wengi hawaja report shuleni kwa sababu ya shida ya njaa, na ninaamini ya kwamba chakula hiki kifika shuleni watoto hawa wataweza kurudi shuleni na kutakuwa na high retention of ya watoto hawa shuleni na masomo yataendelea vizuri.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Aaron Marie.
Guess how long line zetu za stima ziko?
Bright moments. Moments that inspire, enlighten.
Niliwacha stima, sasa inawacha nikaona kuna kipara inasai.
And give hope, joy and clarity. We move forward together, shining and with purpose. For years, we have been your trusted partners that have kept the path illuminated into a bright shared future. Empowering education, information, and entertainment, bringing light to homes, schools, shops, and hospitals in urban centers and villages. Our aim is to do everything possible to keep dreams alive through dedication and power. Kenya Power.
Pamoja twang'aa.
Kuna upaya gani mtu akikwambia hiyo picha ni mzuri? Kuna upaya gani?
Unaangalia simu yangu kwa nini? You're not allowed to read anything on my phone.
Excuse
phone
me.
is private.
What can you do?
I can terminate you even now.
To terminate who?
Yes.
Nauliza, macho iko na pasia?
Macho hakuna pasia.
Very good. Kuangalia ni vibaya?
Ni makosa, hapana angalia.
Nauliza kuangalia namna hivi vile naangalia ni makosa, ni dhambi.
Hiyo hakuna makosa.
Very nice. Kwa nini unakuja kuongea mambo ya urongo na ili hali wakati mimi nilikuwa naangalia apiria wengine ulinipika ngumi na ukaningoa meno? Si ndio hii? Na hata huku uingia kwa hiyo kali, huku kwa hiyo matatu. Kwa nini?
Nani alikutoa ndani ya matatu? Kama wewe anatwanga hii msemo ngumi, nani alitoa wewe?
Dereva ndio walitusema tushuke chini.
Nikakukamata ukasema nisamee. Ukumbuke ukiomba msamaha.
Acha uongo bwana, watu si wajinga.
Welcome to the business segment. Kiharu Member of Parliament Didi Nyoro is opposed to the selling of 15% stake held by government to Vodacom.
Nyoro
is
instead proposing that Safaricom be split into 3 business entities and cross-listed in other countries to unlock more value.
The Joint Parliamentary Finance and National Planning Committee and the Select Committee on Public Debt and Privatization has been collecting views from various players on the proposed sale of a 15% stake in Safaricom by the government to Vodacom. Tuesday, the committee heard from Kiharu Member of Parliament Didi Nyoro, the Central Organization of Trade Unions KOTU, Consumer Federation of Kenya, Institute of Public Finance, religious institutions, and the Central Bank of Kenya. Nyoro told his colleagues that he is opposed to the sale, arguing that the transaction does not represent the best value for Kenya.
We should not be discussing anything below 45 per share. We should now be discussing about what we have done in Ethiopia, which was not present in 2021. Our discussion should be starting from there. But we've been cornered by these guys. We are now gasping for breath on the side of the loss. It is not good. It's not prudent.
Nyoro proposed that Safaricom be split into 3 business units comprising telecommunications, mobile money, and infrastructure, as well as a cross-list of the company's share on stock exchanges abroad to unlock more value.
To cure this, just expose Safaricom transaction into the international markets. Kenya will not lose time. We can only take 2 months. And as I said in my presentation, we will definitely get a higher value, maybe even from the same buyers.
The deal is expected to net 204.3 billion shillings. Nyoro cautioned against treating the divestiture as a simple cash-raising exercise. Ndota Mokami for Prime Edition.
Onto a story compiled by Benson Rioba. High cases of drug resistance and disease among people living in urban centers have been attributed to livestock feeding at dump sites.
Veterinary Research Institute Deputy Director Moses Olum says there is need for proper waste management since tests show that most livestock in urban centers have a high level of heavy metal and bacterial load due to that exposure to harmful material.
Researchers say meat from livestock in urban centers is not fit for human consumption due to contamination from waste from dump sites.
So when their animals eat from the dump sites and they in turn eat the animals, they would be getting some toxins or hazards from this. And this, in the case of this project, will either be bacteria or heavy metals.
Livestock in urban centers are consuming material contaminated with heavy metal, bacteria and drugs at dump sites.
You cook your food properly, you're able to destroy bacteria and therefore not be exposed to the bacteria. But for heavy metals, we may not be safe because they will still be in the cooked food that you will consume at the end of the day.
You see people are sick, but you're not sure exactly what is the problem with them. Some of those issues are actually due to heavy metals. And also there are speculation that heavy metal can co-select for antimicrobial resistance.
They believe deepening the circular economy to manage waste would reduce incidences of food contamination.
When the governments are going to design the dump site or waste management areas, like right now we're talking about material recovery facilities, how are they going to design it in a way that it doesn't have health implication to the people who are going to work in these waste management facilities?
Elsewhere, the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, Mutahi Kagwe, is opposed to the merging of Veterinary and Human Medicine Bill that is currently before the National Assembly and the East Africa Legislative Assembly, arguing that this will draw back steps made in enhancing food safety and is against international best practices.
Combining the two is against the international order of doing things as far as human and animal medicines is concerned. We will also be engaging the East African Community Assembly so that we also deal with that issue at that level.
Kagwe says the Veterinary Medicines Directorate is a critical institution, especially during dry spells when disease pressure on livestock is high and misuse of medicines can cause devastating losses. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
The government is enhancing coordinated enforcement and public awareness campaigns in the fight against contrabands.
Industry Principal Secretary Dr. Juma Mukwana says illicit trade continues to undermine industrial growth, hence the need for re-energized stakeholder efforts in fighting the vice.
Alan Aoko reports.
The Anti-Counterfeit Authority estimates that Kenya loses about 800 billion shillings annually to illicit trade. To enhance the fight against counterfeiting and illicit trade, the government is involving more partners and the general public.
It requires the support of other government partner agencies, law enforcement, the police, Kenya Revenue Authority, the owners of IPR, among others.
Fighting of counterfeit is an all-of-government approach. Everybody that will be useful in identifying some of these fake products, in not licensing businesses that are selling counterfeit products and so on.
Currently, illicit trade accounts for nearly 9% of Kenya's gross domestic product. But Dr. Mukwana says embracing local content might help local industries safeguard consumers from the scourge.
We have this thing called Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, and we really want to encourage you to support our people to produce locally, so that by buying some of their products, they are very high quality, they have been certified by Kenya Bureau of Standards, and so that will help us to grow our economy.
Speakers at a counterfeit forum in Nairobi highlighted the importance of coordinated efforts in quality control through the entire manufacturing value chain, which will in turn help consumers shun counterfeit products. The fight against contraband is meant to protect consumers, safeguard intellectual property rights, and support a legitimate trade. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Engineering technologists, artisans and craftsmen are calling for recognition in the country's construction sector to enhance safety, accountability and fair compensation.
The president of the Institute of Engineering Technologists of Kenya, BBA Chuma, says that there is need for expansion of recognized professionals in the built environment to include those who translate designs into practice on construction sites.
Trevor Ngendo reports.
A series of recent building collapses have been linked to poor workmanship, use of substandard materials, non-compliance with approved designs and weak site supervision. According to the Institute of Engineering Technologists of Kenya, engineering technologists play a critical role in translating designs into practice on construction sites and should be formally recognized alongside inspectors and supervisors.
The Institution of Engineering Technology of Kenya is in charge of the engineering technologist, the engineering technician, the engineering craft persons, and the engineering artisan.
We spend our whole day in site. We can be good reporters of what happens in that particular site, whether there was a landslide that is going to bring this building down, whether these materials that were used are substandard because we are the people who perform the material test, whether this can be done because this material is now rendered redundant in terms of climate change, and we can here and there have so many inputs in regards to that.
This exclusion, they say, has created an implementation gap where decisions are made without adequate technical oversight on the ground, increasing the risk of errors, shortcuts and unsafe practices.
Sometimes we have a fluctuation of the structural sanity of the ground, and maybe it could contribute, but the people who are doing that act, wakichimba msingi, when they are doing that specific job, they can observe those things, and if they were formally recognized, they could give a report, and maybe we could have a prescribed report that could guide of the government and the policymakers identifying the exact problem that has been really affecting us as a country, because these issues have been too much.
The Institute argues that locking technologists out of implementation roles exposes them to safety risks, limits their professional growth and denies them appropriate compensation for work they already perform informally.
Our interest is to ensure that the buildings survive, the members who are doing the work survive, and our country moves forward technologically, economically, name them.
The Institute is now urging policymakers and regulators to fast-track reforms that recognize all key players in the construction value chain. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
Kafu ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Na ni za Wakenya waendelee ku watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. A missed penalty by Teddy Trevor left Posta Rangers without a point from today's FKF Premier League game against KCB, who earned a hard 4-1 victory at the Kasarani Sports Annex. Trevor missed a penalty and a chance to level the score in the 40th minute after Francis Kahata had put KCB ahead in the 23rd minute of the game. The 3 points propelled KCB up to 6th position on the table with 25 points, 3 points above their opponents Posta, who are in the 11th position. Posta now eye a better result in their next fixture against Mathare United on Saturday, a day before KCB host Tusker FC in their next encounter.
Amefikia Trevor. Na Pilato wa mchezo anaamua ni mkwaju wa penalti. Itafsiri kuwa alikuwa anaendea mpira. Trevor kivuta kasi Trevor. Trevor umegonga chuma, Trevor naikosa. Bado nao Posta Kaleboli Lukalues. Kini hii hapa nilitafsiriwa kuwa penalti.
And the Kenya Lionesses have stepped up their preparations ahead of the HSBC Sevens 2 tournament set for the 14th and 15th of February at the Nyayo National Stadium. The tournament, which will be hosted in Kenya for the first time, will feature 12 teams battling for promotion in both the men's and women's categories. Daniel Mwendwa has a story.
Training intensity has increased at the RFUA grounds as the Lionesses fine-tune their game for the crucial home tournament. The team is in high spirits as they build momentum, with eyes firmly set on promotion.
We've been preparing, being that we have the experience in the World Series stages, so we know our way on how we are going to do to play the game.
As part of their preparation, the Lionesses will travel to Spain for a 5-day high-performance training camp from January 26th to 31st.
Mood, iko sawa, na watu wako very excited, being the first HSBC at home, na wako very excited kucheza at home. More so for kukuwa na our own fans at home ground. Tabamba.
The camp is expected to sharpen their tactical play and boost their fitness levels as they count down to the tournament.
I'd love to welcome all of you. It will be on the Valentine's weekend, and come show us the love that we need on the Kenyan soil. So come with the lovers, come with your family members, come support us. The Kenya corner will be packed and ready for you guys.
In the women's competition, Kenya will face strong opposition from Brazil, Spain, China, South Africa and Argentina, all qualifiers from the 7-3 pathway. The men's tournament will also see host Kenya compete against United States, Uruguay, Germany, Belgium and Canada. With home advantage and preparation intensifying, all eyes will be on the Kenya Lionesses as they chase success on the 7th stage at Nyayo National Stadium.
And about 10 boxing events are expected to be held this year in combined efforts by the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission in conjunction with Kalakoda Promotions to support Kenyan boxers. The deal has already been signed with the first event slated for the 27th of February, featuring 16 boxers. Renowned Kenyan boxers who have been included in the fight card include, among others, Joshua Wasike, Maurice Alfaya, George Onyango and Martin Achebi.
You can see the calendar of this year. We'll be having at least every month more than 3 fights. And according to Kalakoda's plan, which I'm very much impressed, that they'll also start grooming the young boxers.
We want Kenyan boxers not just fighting Kenyan, Tanzanian, Ugandan boxers, we want them fighting guys from Zimbabwe. We want them fighting guys from the UK. We want them fighting guys from France. So we've worked with our network, Ade Oladipo, our guy in the UK. We have guys in South Africa. We have guys in France. They'll be...
More than 3,000 young athletes are expected to compete at this year's Sirikwa Cross Country, to be held on the 14th of February in Eldoret. Athletics Kenya, in partnership with Sirikwa Cross Country Organizing Committee, officially unveiled the 5th edition with Director of Youth Development at Athletics Kenya, Barnaba Korir, saying that they have confirmed a high number of registered athletes. Participants and fans have also been assured that world-class standards will be strictly observed throughout the competition. Elite athletes and world beaters Beatrice Chebet, Eliud Kipchoge and Ebenyo Simiyu, who graced the occasion, urged young athletes to remain disciplined, committed to training and to stay away from doping.
the President.
We need to put more effort. It means we need to put more energy. Maybe we need to look for more finances so that we can continue doing exactly what we're supposed to do.
The senior men and senior women, under 20 men and women will be only by invitation. For kids and races, those ones will be through registration. You have to register those kids so that they can participate.
And tonight is a tough UEFA Champions League night for both Inter Milan and English Premier League giants Arsenal, who met it in Italy in one of the 9 matches on card. Both sides have dominated their domestic leagues and have also done well in their last UEFA Champions League fixtures.
Both Arsenal and Inter Milan are at the top of their domestic leagues ahead of their clash tonight, meeting for the second successive season in a game that seemingly holds far more importance for the Italian side, now unbeaten in 6 matches after a 1-0 victory over Udinese on Saturday. Sporting on their side are also hosting Paris Saint-Germain, with just 3 points separating them in the competition. Sporting will stake their unbeaten home record in Europe this season against PSG's unbeaten away record. Other games tonight will see Borussia Dortmund visiting Tottenham Hotspurs, Napoli travel to FC Copenhagen, Olympiacos host Bayer Leverkusen, while Villarreal will be up against Ajax.
And Brighton missed a chance to move into the top 10 after being held to a 1-1 draw by Bournemouth in the only English Premier League game played at the American Express Stadium. The draw pushed Bournemouth further away from the relegation zone after match day 22.
From left to right in the blue and white striped jerseys in the first 45 minutes against Bournemouth, also in stripes.
It was a night for Charalampos Kostulas as he came from the bench to equalize for Brighton in stoppage time against Bournemouth in a 1-1 draw.
1-0. It's a very, very good penalty. Mitoma. Goskali's ball into the area. Van Hecker down. Kostulas with the overhead kick. Absolutely brilliant.
Brighton coach Fabio Huzela was quick to praise the 18-year-old Greek forward who signed from Olympiacos in the summer.
The youngster makes his mark.
In Serie A, Hellas Verona were held to a goalless draw by Cremonense to remain bottom of the table, while their opponents Cremonense moved up 2 places to 12th on the Italian table.
Terracciano, Bonazzoli, Vardy, nicely done. This is Van der Putter. Straight out the keeper.
In the same league, Lazio suffered a heavy 3-0 defeat to Como at home, missing a chance to move above 8th-placed Bologna. The win was Como's 10th and moved them up to 6th on the table.
And the deflection has taken it past Providel. 90 seconds into the game. In comes the cross. Cacré drops the pass, and it's 2. And they're taking big strides towards their 10th win. It's pass. It's saved by Providel. And perhaps this might be a turning point for Lazio. Valle. Baturina. Pass. Oh, it's glorious. That is football of the highest quality that he's ended the contest.
That's the sport for tonight. More coming your way tomorrow and a lot of build-up to a lot of the things happening over the weekend. So there's a lot of it. Well, that's it from me, Daniel Wahome. Back to Tom and Irene.
Well, many thanks indeed, Daniel Wahome, for that sporty bit. Well, it's now time to go. It's 2 minutes before the top of the hour, and we have to bring this to a close. We want to thank you on behalf of the Prime Edition team for watching Prime Edition.
I am Chuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Maura. God bless you.
So why did you look at me and just pose? Well, we'll see you again next week on Monday and Tuesday. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Tom Boyaba.
Guess how long line zetu za stima ziko?
Bright moments. Moments that inspire, enlighten,
Niliwacha sitima, sasa inawacha, nikaona kuna kipara inasai.
and give hope, joy, and clarity. We move forward together, shining and with purpose. For years, we have been your trusted partners that have kept the path illuminated into a bright shared future. Empowering education, information, and entertainment, bringing light to homes, schools, shops, and hospitals in urban centers